I cannot see you.
Your video is
Your
off.
video, Kunmas, your video.
Oh,
Yeah.
you cannot see me.
Not
No,
yet.
we cannot see you.
Not yet.
Only the light. We can see only the light, not your
we
face.
we can see the ceiling light.
So
You cannot see me.
You have to unmute
Not yet.
to
So
speak.
Only the light. We can see only the light, not your face.
Sushil,
Oh, Ma. Yeah.
so I gave you that I made you co-host.
Rizal.
From Lipi, Rizal.
Yeah, I'm Rizal from Lipi.
So I gave you that I made you co-host.
So, Professor Sharif,
I still
I
cannot
send
see you.
all the links.
I still cannot see you.
Professor Sharif,
Yes, I can hear you, but I cannot see you.
I can.
Yeah, now I can see.
so I send the link. Okay, so I send the link actually of this talks to all AIT's alumni in Indonesia, as well as to all those who already already met you before, and also to our colleague in LIPI and BPPT and ITB. But last night I realized they said, "Oh, it's Monday. It's Sunday."
Who is Nitya Rameshwara?
Yeah.
You are muted. You are muted. Just put the sound on and let me hear you. Nitya?
Hello, sir.
Nitya's.
Yes.
Nitya Parmeshwara. Yeah.
Yes. I'm a PhD student at the School of Management at AIT, sir.
Okay.
When? Long time ago?
No, currently I'm
Okay, you are currently a student. Okay.
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 yes.
And who-
Kunmas, we cannot see you. Where is your video?
Mazhar.
No, I did not put the
Hello, sir.
video on.
Hi.
And then
Yeah,
I did not
Mazhar,
upload my
Good,
picture.
good. I am in Philadelphia.
So I sent my
Very good.
picture directly to Professor Sharif.
Dia.
Professor Sharif, I'm in Philadelphia right now. I'm a faculty at Loyola University in New Orleans.
Good. But it's good that you have put also the dates that you were at SOM. 95,
Right,
97. Okay. That reminds me very well. Thank you.
We were not
Okay,
lucky to have you as a teacher.
Yeah.
Yes,
Good evening, everyone.
I was not there for some time. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sushil Acharya. It is 9:01. What I would like to request everyone to do is, can you kindly put yourself on the mute button? Okay, so you can hear all of us and especially the speaker speak. Okay, so it is now time to start our event. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay.
Sushil, a kind suggestion, just in case if some people don't mute and there is that resound,
Right.
you or Sharif should be able to mute all so that everybody can listen properly, okay?
Exactly. I think that's
Thank
the
you.
plan. That's the
Thank you.
plan. Okay. So again, thank you so much, Purna. And let's go ahead and get started. Okay. I was just telling Sharif a few hours ago, I drove 8 hours from Pittsburgh to North Carolina today to meet a family friend, a longtime friend of AIT. Okay. But I'm glad I was able to make it. So I want to greet everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. In this unprecedented times, I hope you and your loved ones are doing well. On behalf of AIT-AA USA chapter, let me welcome all of you from the US as well as from around the world. Okay, you have to excuse me for a while, please. Sorry about that. Sorry about the disturbance. We'll try to manage it. Sorry if on the other side, me on this side, and we'll try to do what we can. So as I was saying, I'd like to welcome all of you in today's event. Professor Nawaz Sharif will speak on management of technology for winning the future. My name is Susil Acharya. I'm an associate provost for research, global initiatives, and development at Robert Morris University, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, USA. I'm also a professor of software engineering. I will be your moderator for today's program. Prior to starting this exciting event, let me lay out a few ground rules and provide some suggestions. This event is being held in Zoom and being simultaneously broadcast through Facebook Live. The event will be recorded. For those joining us in Zoom, if you do not wish to be recorded, you may turn off your video at this time, or you may leave the session. The recording will be shared with the larger global community interested in management of technology. Attendees in Zoom will be muted throughout the event. For any reason, if you are unmuted, kindly mute yourself. This will enable us to hear the speaker clearly. For best viewing option, please set your Zoom screen to speaker view. If for any reason you are not able to hear us, please leave and rejoin. If internet speed affects your viewing, please join us in audio mode only. Our program today will begin with an introduction of our speaker, followed by his presentation for 40 minutes. After his presentation, we will have maybe I'm thinking 12 to 15 minutes of questions and answers. 35 minutes into his presentation, Professor Sharif will be reminded that he has 5 minutes remaining. All questions should be submitted via the chat box or Facebook Live comment section. Please, and I repeat, please formulate your craft your question clearly. I will read out selected questions from the Zoom chat box and Facebook comment sections relevant to the topic being discussed. As this is an hour-long event, all questions may not get answered, so I do apologize in advance. So let me begin with introducing our speaker, Professor Nawaz Sharif. Professor Nawaz Sharif has a very illustrative career of teaching and research, academic administration, United Nations operation, international consultancy, and advising national technology policy and planning to governments. He joined the Industrial Engineering and Management Division of AIT in 1972. He served as the director of Regional Computer Center, founding chairman of Computer Application Division, Institute Chair Professor, and the Vice President of Academic Affairs of AIT. Professor Sharif also served as the director of UN ISCAP Asia Pacific Center of Technology Transfer, APCTT. He joined George Washington University in 1997 as visiting professor, and then moved to the University of Maryland and served as the professor and director of doctoral program at UMUC. He also served as adjunct professor in Johns Hopkins University. Professor Sharif served as consultant of a number of international and UN organizations and as technology policy advisor to the governments of a number of countries, including advisor for the Industrial Technology Development. This is a national plan of action for the government of Malaysia in the early 90s. He has published more than 80 professional journal articles on various management of technology subject areas. Professor Sharif is currently a freelance consultant on technology management for development. So with this, Professor Nawaz Sharif, Professor Sharif, the floor is now yours. Please take it away from here.
But,
Thank you so much.
Before I take over, I have to get, I think, from you or Sharifuddin, the permission so that I can put up my PowerPoint slides.
Okay, Sharif.
How do I do that? Just go to share.
Yeah, you are already co-host. I made
I
you
can go to share screen.
Yeah, you're able to share your screen.
You are able to see it, Professor Sharif.
Can you see?
Yes, we can see it.
You
We
can
can see your
see
slide.
the Niagara Falls
Yes,
and my pointer.
yes, the red pointer we can see.
Okay, now I will start. I'll start the timer also, and then I will start, all right? Dear friends, I'm Nawaz Sharif. It's a privilege for me to be given this opportunity to speak in this webinar. I express my gratitude to the organizing committee of AIT Alumni Association USA, and my sincere thanks to all of you for honoring me today by your online presence. Thank you. This is the cover page of the document that I have shared with you. Some of you may have seen this. I do not know whether everyone has seen that or not, but I'm going to use the view graph that I sent already with this for my presentation now. First, let me set the stage for my talk. The webinar title is Management of Technology for Winning the Future. The scope and specific objective: industrial technology innovation management. That's what I'm going to talk about when I say management of technology, TM, technology management, for attaining economic prosperity in developing countries by acquiring global competitiveness of products and industries. So in short, for prosperity. So technology management for prosperity, that is the subject that I'm going to talk about. And the presentation will be in 3 parts. First part is why, the rationale and justification for TM. Second part is what, most important elements of TM. And the third part is how, TM pathway and measurement. But before I get into my view graph 1, I want to say a few words about view graph. View graph is a pictorial representation of concepts using text, images, connectors, and shapes to give a total perspective view on a topic in just 1 page. For this webinar presentation today, I shall go over each view graph to give an overview and also use it as my prop for important takeaways that I will present immediately after the view graph. So this is the first one, view graph number 1. Now, because of this heading here, I cannot see the top part. Technology Innovation Centric World Order. That's the heading here, but I could not see it clearly. Now, I would like to start with 2 very broad statements. If we ponder, we can observe human life at home, work, and play is intricately intertwined with technologies. By this statement, I'm bringing to attention that for all of us who are listening to me and myself, that technology is intertwined with our life. Then technologies are created helpmates, the means that make all our work more convenient, efficient, and productive. Because I'm going to talk about the work part only, let us remember that technology is created helpmate, is the means that enables us to do our work more conveniently, efficiently, and productively. Now, I'm not going to read everything that I have in these view graphs. I'm going to highlight a few things, and then I'm going to summarize the content. First, I say that since people are creative and people like to compete, technological innovation is unstoppable. The second point I want to make is globalization is in our human DNA. And nowadays, because of unprecedented technological innovations, this process has accelerated a lot. And so I put here for your information that technology innovation in the earlier days were in a much slower pace, incremental, slightly new, evolutionary. But nowadays, it is happening at a much faster pace, radically new, breakthrough, and revolutionary. Having said that, let's look at a product that we are all very familiar with. All of us have cell phone nowadays. We use cell phones. And also remember, we used to have telephones sitting on our desk. Now, if I compare this old telephone, land phone, with our cell phone and consider the ingredient that constitutes those phones, you will find that for the earlier world, for the old telephone, the nature-based material capital was much more than intellect-based technology capital. But if you look at the cell phone now, the intellect-based technology capital is much more than the nature-based material capital. This is the general trend we find. So I give you a little bit of summary of what we have covered in view graph 1. Technologies are human-made means. Please remember, this is very important. It's human-made. It's not available freely. People makes it for producing industrial goods. And because people are creative and they like to compete, technological innovation is unstoppable. It is now universally accepted that accelerated, unprecedented, and mind-boggling technological innovation is shaping the new world order. If you consider products in terms of its ingredients, we find that modern products have relatively more technology content than earlier day products, which had relatively less technology content, but more material content. Thus, for acquiring prosperity through globally traded high technology content products, we have to pay attention to technology management. That was the first argument. Next, we talk about, in view graph 2, industry restructuring for prosperity. Here you can see the progress of countries from low income to middle income to high income to prosperous. There are certain industries that we find very common in those economies. But very interestingly to note that in this low income countries and mid income countries, they have comparative advantage because of material endowment, natural resources based industries, and their products are more material intensive. On the other hand, high income and prosperous countries, their products are more technology intensive. And this is a created technology. So they have created competitive advantage. This is a very unique phenomenon that we have to remember. And also you can see that similar things can be observed when you talk about the industrial revolution from 1.0 to 4.0. Now here I have given you some examples of new industries, but the most important point I want to repeat, new world industries have significant tech over matter. So technology component is more than the material component in new industries. And here is the takeaway from my view graph 2. Technology capital intensive restructuring has been the foundation for economies to progress from low income to mid income to high income to prosperous countries. This pattern also reflects industrial revolution to 4.0. Let's note that low income and mid income countries used to benefit from comparative advantage due to existing natural resource endowments, while high income and prosperous countries now benefit from competitive advantage due to created technology resources. And the most important part for us to remember that created technology resources is geographic location independent. So countries like Japan and South Korea, who do not have any natural resources, you see how much they have advanced because of created technology resources. Evidently, high technology intensive restructuring of industries enable developing countries to acquire both competitive and competitive advantage. So this is the second rationale for why TM. Now I come to the third view graph, and here I'm requesting all of us, me and all of you, to think about the characteristics of the work that we do nowadays. And here I have a Venn diagram to show the work, and we can look at the work from workplace, work media, and work content. Workplace, nowadays, anywhere, anytime, any place, that's where we work. And what is the media that we use for work? Starting from a handheld mobile computer to all the way mainframe computer, who are doing all the calculations in the cloud computing with data banks and Wi-Fi connections. But what is the content? The work content for us is combination of human intelligence and artificial intelligence connected through mobile intelligence technologies. So I call it the intellect intensive. This is the characteristic. And I'm going to read this sentence up there so that we can understand the totality here. Modern industrial enterprise professionals can be at any place, assemble a team of talented experts on the internet, put their intellectual property in a secure cloud, cyber cloud, develop product innovation processes through cloud computing and data bank, utilize a robotized factory with 3D printers to make immensely complicated and complex parts and market those products via the World Wide Web. So you see, this is the environment within which all of our work is happening nowadays. Technological innovations are making our professional work, and here I'm talking about all of us, our professional work is making more efficient, effective, and powerful. We even say nowadays that no technology, no work. It's very common. If there's no electricity, we cannot work. If there's no computer, no Wi-Fi, we cannot work nowadays. So technology has become so important for our work. Since professional work mode in terms of content, media, place, and time is increasingly determined by incredible technological innovations, we have to focus on technology management that profoundly shapes our work setting. So this is the third rationale I'm giving for consideration of technology management. Now, after talking about the technical reasons, 3 of them I have given, let's look at from the point of view of business. Every enterprise that we are involved with have to be nowadays agile, mobile, lean, and green. Those of you who are working in these enterprises, you know very well that all of these requires that we take advantage of technology. Similarly, the universal business challenges for international market competition are still creating values, delighting customers, adapting to market flux, and sustaining growth. Again, my question is, can you do any of these without considering technology management? If no, then I conclude that management of technology is paramount. Having said that, now I'm going to go into the 2 other parts, what and how. And for that, I'm going to use this 4-pillar framework. Number 1 is technology components. Number 2 is technology capacities. Number 3 is technology strategies. And number 4 is technology assessment. I repeat this so that we're all on the same page. With both tech and business rationale that TM is paramount, we have completed part 1. Why? The rationale and justification for TM. From next view graph, we'll start consideration of the second part, what? Most important elements of TM. In this part, we'll focus on 2 specific aspects, technology component sophistication and technology capacities building. After this, we're going to move into the third part, how. Here, we'll also consider 2 specific aspects, technology strategies progression and technology assessment scoreboard. This is the one where I start with the technology component. Remember, we said that technologies are human-made helpmates. This is the means. But in order to manage it, we have to define, or we have to determine technology as some means or gears or levers in the managerial toolbox. And this is from that point of view, I am trying to define a technology. But let me repeat that one because it must be very clear to us. To manage technology, we need technology systems delineated as levers in a managerial toolbox to be deployed for achieving any desired outcome. Keeping that in mind, this is one such description that we have developed and have been using for quite some time now. The first element, and this picture gives you the complete idea of what is technology system for production. The first component is technoware, object-embodied physical facilities, tools, or artifacts. Second component is humanware, person-embodied human abilities, skills, and talents. Third is infoware, record-embodied facts and figures, recipes, and specs. Fourth is orgaware, teamwork-embodied operational procedures, flows, and routines. And the last one is sysnetware, cyberspace-embodied digital networks, internet, and cloud. So this is the complete view of the technology system comprising of THIOC. But please remember that all 5 is required in every work package. But for goods production, this THIOC system works as a transformation mechanism to convert available inputs to marketable outputs. And I'm going to repeat this one more time because this is the fundamental point that we have to remember. To manage technology, we need technology systems delineated as levers in the managerial toolbox to be deployed for achieving any desired outcome. One such system is technoware, humanware, infoware, orgaware, sysnetware, the THIOC. We have noted that integrated THIOC components are the transformation mechanisms for converting available inputs to marketable outputs, the product. We also should note that all of the THIOC components are essential for undertaking totality of work package in the manufacturing process of any product. But we know also that unique combination of THIOC needed for work package depends on the characteristics of the product. And some of these I'm going to discuss next. Here, one characteristic of these components is that each one comes in various degrees of sophistication. It will be easier if I take the example of technoware. Technoware is the tool. The lowest degree of sophistication is manual tool, then power tool, then automatic tool, then programmable tool, and finally, ideal zero deviation, self-correcting tools. So, and as you can see, depending on the type of product, we require some minimum and some maximum in terms of the technoware. Similar things happens with humanware, infoware, orgaware, sysnetware. But for us to remember that when I say degrees of sophistication, I simply mean better tools to add more technology content to the product that we are going to make. And we can determine or we can plot the status of these tools, all of these 5 components in particular production using a polar diagram like this. But note that I have put here, this is a weighted score, not just linear score, and I'll explain the reason why. Here, again, a summary of what I've just said. Managers of a goods producing enterprise have to make a careful choice for each of the THIOC components, degree of sophistication to deploy, which will lead to the ultimate goal regarding technology content of the output product. Simplistic meaning of the term sophistication is better means. But please remember, we need some minimum requirement in terms of those means, but we do not have to have the highest level of sophistication for all the THIOCs in every case. In selecting the optimal degree of sophistication for each of the technology components, managers can use a polar diagram that I've shown earlier, but I have used there a weighted scale because certain components have got dominance over the rest. Let me explain what do I mean by that. Here is an example of many industries I've put here just for information. And for each set of industries here, I tried to show which component is the most dominant and which is the second one. We need all 5, but I just showed only 2. And I'm going to take an example to explain this so that we understand that there are certain elements which are dominant and we should pay attention to those more than everything else. Due to resources constraint, enterprise managers have to consider combined TEOX sophistication investment decisions carefully, targeting on the basis of dominance among the 5 components utilized for production. And I give an example here so that we understand it easily. Let's compare the computer software industry with the semiconductor industry. For a computer software industry, what is the technical requirement? Most of the computers that we use are good enough for the software industry. But the skill, humanware needed, is extremely high. So for a computer software industry, I'm saying humanware is the dominant factor. On the other hand, if you're talking about semiconductor industry, where accuracy and control and so many other things are so much important, technoware is the dominant factor. Why this is important? Let me repeat one more time. When we want to improve the status of the degree of sophistication, we should try to use the dominant one because that's where we get maximum return on our investment. As relative contribution of technology content added coefficient in different types of industries is different, developing countries have to be selective in picking the dominant component involved in innovation for products so that you can join the global value chain, or be careful in selecting the industries to become global high-tech corporations. Next, leveraging. Now, leveraging comes from this note that I have put here, technology system component, TEOC classification, and an appreciation of the condition that relative dominance of technology components utilized in any specific goods production being uniquely different. Late starter developing countries with high quality and quantity of humanware can give significant advantage over developed countries where same quality humanware cost is very high. Very important point for us to remember, that if we want to compete with developed countries, and if we select those industries where humanware is very dominant, and because we have got cost advantage, we can beat the other countries easily. And also, we have to consider 2 other things. One is the change process, the S-curve change process of technology, and when this is a gradual change and disruptive change. And examples I have given here, but I'll explain the principle in simple words. Developing countries can leverage humanware advantage. This is how we leverage humanware advantage for competition in specific industries where it is the dominant component for technology content addition, and because developed countries have much higher humanware cost. To consider leveraging potential for developing countries to catch up and leapfrog. This is what we try. In established industries, we try to catch up. For example, the Japanese automobile industry caught up with Europe and American industries, and they went ahead. And now South Korea is trying to do the same thing in the automobile industry. But for leapfrogging, we select high potential industries where the technological change process follows an S-curve trajectory. In both of these, S-curve trajectory, but in one case it's a gradual change, in the other case it is a disruptive change. When this is a gradual change, single S-curve, we go for product innovation. And when there's a disruptive change, multiple S-curves, we go for skipping of intermediate stages. This is what is leapfrogging. So we choose those industries to take advantage of that. Having said that, now we'll move into the productivity part. Productivity is very simple. For all the AIT alumni, we all know that productivity P equals value V over cost C. So delta P, change in productivity, is delta V, change in value, over delta C, change in cost. But productivity goes up, delta P goes up, if delta V goes up or delta C goes down, or both of these happen together. Now I'm going to relate this cost reduction with capability and experience. Cost reduction part of the above equation is related to capability for operations optimization, which can be achieved through additional experiences. On the other hand, the value addition part of the above equation is related to competency for performance optimization, which can be achieved through elevated and often unique kind of expertise that lead to effectiveness of the firms. Further explanations are given here, but I can summarize this in simple words. Technology component sophistication is a necessary condition, but is not a sufficient condition for market competition. Productivity is a requirement. Technological innovations enable enterprises to achieve productivity gain for competitive advantage through efficiency and effectiveness measures. Usually, productivity gain can be achieved through increases in the value of outputs, decreases in the cost of inputs, or both occurring simultaneously. Higher efficiency leads to cost optimization that an enterprise acquires through supply chain management, resulting in technology capability accumulation. Greater effectiveness leads to value optimization that an enterprise acquires through customer relationship management, resulting in competency elevation. Now I'll move to part 3. For part 3, to talk about the strategy, the first thing that I would like to talk about is how to integrate technology and business strategies. And here, I would like all of us to take an example. We all buy automobiles, but depending on our position, situation, and preferences, we determine which automobile we're going to buy. If we are poor, we buy products at the low end of the market, where the business, and we know that cheap products are not necessarily very good quality. So when we have some more disposable income, we go for a better quality product. So we move up to medium value market where quality is the concern. But after some time, we want special features. And here I'm going to give you the example of Toyota. Say Toyota cheap car, Toyota Corolla. In the US, you can buy it for about $15,000. But that's not so good quality. But if you want a Camry, a better quality car, you go to the medium value market and you can buy for about a $20,000 car, better quality. But nowadays you see that people like SUVs. So they're niche market and you pay $25,000 to get a RAV4 in the niche market. But there are people who have got a lot of money to burn. They buy, instead of RAV4, they buy Lexus RX 350, which costs $50,000, twice as much. So you see, the market has products from the low end to the high end, and business people use price strategy, price leadership strategy, quality leadership strategy, niche leadership strategy, and image leadership strategy to provide products for these markets. Now let's look at the technology strategy. For low-end, technology extender strategy, continuing with old technologies for price-sensitive, low-value market. Second one, using standardized technologies for quality-sensitive, mid-value market. Third one, follower, applying advanced technologies for feature-sensitive, high-value market. And the leader here, syndicating latest technologies for image-sensitive, pioneering market. Let me summarize what we just said. Producers of common consumer goods usually offer a family of product range. This is one we have to remember. There's a family of products available. And Consumers determine from their preferences which one they want to buy. When considered from the point of view of customer preferences, we know that business strategies are price, quality, niche, and image leadership, corresponding to low, medium, high, and top value markets. On the other hand, technology strategies are technology extender, technology exploiter, technology follower, and technology leader strategy. Progression from low end to the top end market value position is a proven path for sustainable prosperity for enterprise in the global marketplace. Okay, now I would like to combine the three things that we talked about: technology component sophistication, productivity improvement, and the progression in the market together to determine the roadmap for technology-based development. Here, we're moving from technology extender strategy, exploiter strategy, follower strategy to leader strategy. Here you can see the technology component sophistication at the lowest level. Second one is the middle level. Here is the high level, and this is the most sophisticated level to be producing products here. And now the value, the productivity, customer value dominant strategy here, and producer cost dominant strategy here for these two, Another important thing, we talked about the S-shape change process. Process innovations are major focus for these strategies, and product innovation are major focus for these industries. And I summarize now. To consider leveraging potential for developing countries to catch up and leapfrog in selected industries, it is essential to recall the studies have shown the technology change phenomenon usually follows an S-curve pattern. Now, to figure out plausible competitive position attainment roadmap, enterprise managers have to fully integrate all TM elements: component sophistication, capacities building via cost savings and value addition, and strategic progression path from low end to top end of the market. In case of the gradual change, that means single S-curve, process innovations are major focus with extender and exploiter strategies. But for disruptive change, multiple S-curve option, product innovations are major focus with follower and leader strategies. Next, this is the measurement part. A comprehensive assessment scorecard for industrial product development, project selection, and funding should be utilized with a balanced criteria function that incorporates all four essential dimensions: innovativeness dimension, competitiveness dimension, attractiveness dimension, and responsiveness dimension. But some of these are quantitative, some of these are qualitative. So we can use a visual scorecard with all the criteria factors there and plot it to help the manager make the right decision. Again, summarizing, for effective technology management decision-making in the era of accelerated technology innovations and intensified globalization, all process innovation and product innovation related investment projects of any enterprise need to be assessed using a comprehensive, both qualitative and quantitative, and balanced measure. A balanced scorecard criteria function calls for four essential dimensions: innovativeness, competitiveness, attractiveness, and responsiveness. Qualitative assessment of all factors can be presented for industrial technology innovation management decisions, TM, using the visual scorecard diagram. With this, I have completed my webinar presentation on CM for prosperity, but I have a concluding remark to make, and then if I will have 2 minutes time to talk about one last thing. This is what I put together here as a motivational pitch for me and for everyone else. We have learned from Nobel laureate Professor Yunus, who told everyone that banks do not give money to those who need money. Banks only give money to those who have money. So I generalized his concept to say that currently established global systems only help those already well established. So the World Trade Organization, the World Bank, all this international development finance institution, they help only those who are already well established. Poor developing countries generally do not get any help from them. Now let's hear what Singapore Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew then said. He took his country from a third world to the first world level. He said very aptly, if you only follow someone else's footsteps, you will always be behind. So when developed country advisors tell us that you follow their model, remember, if you follow their model, you'll be always behind. So I put up this motto for us. Motto for prosperity in the wow tech era calls for self-reliance as the virtue. Okay, I have 4 more minutes. Mr. Moderator, I'm going to take 2 more minutes to give one last statement, my last word.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I have provided a set of mindshare view graph to you who may be the executives of enterprises as CEO, Chief Enterprise Officer, CIO, Chief Information Officer, CKO, Chief Knowledge Officer, CTO, Chief Technology Officer, or only responsible. You may not have those titles, but you are responsible for decision making. And I would like to argue that anyone who makes decision forms first a conceptual model in his mind that if I do this, this is what I'm going to get. So how do you do that? And here I'm trying to bring to your attention that in each view graph, I have attempted to present my baseline knowledge acquired over years of real world experience that an executive officer like you could enrich, you could change by superimposing your own knowledge base to make any of my concepts relevant and useful for your own decision-making situation at the farm, industry, country levels to become prosperous under the new world order. So if I break it down, I have given so many concepts. Some of you may agree, you may like, but some you agree, but you do not like the way I presented. All right, modify them. There are some you do not like at all, eliminate them. And there are some that you think should be added, add them. Then you have your own conceptual framework, which can be used to make a decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sharif. We now open the floor for question and answers.
Just a second. Let me get out of this share thing.
As you get out of this, Professor Sharif, I will just make an announcement.
Yes.
Please use Zoom chat box or Facebook Live comment section to submit your well thought out question.
Now, how do I get out of this?
You can stop presenting if you can.
I did. Oh, stop share. Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So as some of us are formulating our thoughts and our questions, I personally feel, Professor Sharif, that your last slide was right on spot, meaning to say that for many of us, we need to take what we can and use it for the benefit of the decision making that we will have to make. And I get that thoroughly. Thank you so much. So I do have 3 questions right now, but I think as we start the discussion, I think we'll have more. Okay. So I do have a question from Moed Islam. Okay. Moed says that this is a very informative presentation. He is curious about a couple of things. Number 1, how would you explain the technology of management, productivity, and leadership in the context of South Korea? And he was suggesting that whether you could give an example. And let me just give you the question number 2 that he has also. Can those lessons learned be transferred to Asian countries like Bangladesh as a roadmap?
Yep. Okay. You want me to respond now?
Yes, please. Yes, Professor Sharif, please.
the South Korean experiment. South Korea is a very good model, but most of the Asian countries, I'm telling now from my own experience, failed to emulate the South Korean model. We failed miserably. And I'll give you some examples how. South Korean, most important thing is the KIST, Korean Institute of Science and Technology, which is considered to be the backbone for technology-based development in South Korea. And so many of our countries, and I was familiar with, and I have been to many of these countries where the national science and technology laboratory or institution was converted, hopefully, something equivalent to KIST. So Bangladesh Science and Technology, BCSIR, Bangladesh Center for Science and Technology for Industry Research, okay, we made it BIST. In Sri Lanka, we made it CIST. In Malaysia, we made it MIST. So we changed the name, but we had the same people, same work, same way of doing things. By changing the name, you do not get the result of what was done in South Korea. So most important lesson, there are a couple of lessons I can tell you. One is the KIST and other is the Ministry of Science and Technology. In both cases, we tried. Most of our countries introduced a Ministry of Science and Technology, but without knowing very clearly what the Ministry of Science and Technology in South Korea did. And also what the Science and Technology, Korean Institute of Science and Technology, how did it operate? See, and perhaps I give you one example to illustrate, because this, this subject I can talk for 3 hours. And I have a paper already written, which is going to be published next month, where I'm giving 10 reasons, 10 stories why we failed to emulate the South Korean model. So I cannot give you all of those, but let me give you just one example, which you will understand. See, in the research institutions in our countries, we promote our staff from junior research officer to senior research officer to principal research officer based on number of publications. So they behave like academic people. They write papers, get published, and they get promoted. There's no link with the research they do with the industries they're supposed to serve. So what can you expect? Just one example. Okay, I don't think I should take for this question more time.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Sharif. I do have a question related to South Korea again. Pretty much the question is from Majar, and he says, how much of South Korean success can we contribute to the US assistance during the Cold War era?
Yes, that's a very good question. What US did for South Korea in those days, you cannot expect US or not even South Korea is going to do for other countries. And I give you one simple example. My guru, learning about technology management, is Dr. Hyung-Suk Chae. He was the founder president of KIST, Korean Institute of Science and Technology, was Minister for Science and Technology in South Korea for many, many years. He taught me a lot of things. But the present day South Korean experts, you go and try to learn something from them, they will not. Because nobody wants to give away the secrets. Nobody wants to destroy their own competitiveness in the world. But at that time, you know, South Korea had the advantage because of the war, and also at that time, nobody knew that they could come up so quickly. So, but they have shown that they could, and now nobody is prepared to give technology or technological help. And that is the reason, probably I can say, that at ESCAP in 1984, I prepared the ESCAP's, the Economic and Social Commission for Asia Pacific. I prepared the desk study called Technology for Development. I was the consultant who prepared that. And the Western countries, Europe, America, everybody was against that topic when Mr. Kibria, Executive Secretary, chose that as the topic for ESCAP annual session, 40th annual session. Why? Because nobody wants to teach us technology management. See, I was at one time the head of a technology transfer center. That's what I would like to have, a technology transfer center where technology is developed by the developed countries, and mostly the ones that are not applicable, junk, should be transferred to the developing countries. But I did not do that. We moved into the technology policy area. The things that we have developed, the things that I mentioned to you, all came from our studies and learning about doing it ourselves. What can we do ourselves? Because nobody is going to give technology to us to compete with them.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Sharif. I have another question here from Tarkeshwar Srimali. The question reads, have you
Where's
seen
this question from?
Tarkeshwar Srimali? Okay.
Where is the person? I cannot see. I don't see her picture. Okay, anyway.
Some of us decide to keep the video off for various reasons.
Okay.
So that's fine, but let's go ahead. Okay, there we go. Okay.
He just appeared.
Where?
Okay, so he's, I don't know, depending
Anyway,
on
never
how your
mind.
screen
Okay,
is
go
laid
ahead.
out. Okay, but let me go ahead and ask the question. So his question reads, have you seen the correlation of birth rates and education level to development?
I did not work on that. No. But what I can tell at one time, one of the problem with when you talk about population, people, see, at one time, there was a lot of discussion, a lot of pressure for labor-intensive technology in developing countries. Schumacher, who wrote that book, made it very popular under the name of appropriate technology in developing countries because we are poor, we have a lot of people, so we should utilize technologies which are labor-intensive. So I personally think that that is not the right way to look at. We should look at not labor, people, but technology-oriented people. That's why I said humanware. If you got high humanware, then technological development is easy, not that difficult. And then you do not need even natural resources. Japan and Korea are very good examples. No natural resource, but their humanware is at a very high level. In South Korea, I remember, even during wartime, they did not leave education. General Park, who was the leader of South Korea for quite some time, when Dr. Che was directing science and technology development, he was also a teacher. And the teaching thing in South Korea did never stop. So skill development is not population, it's not birth rate. And I think some of you who are in the US, have you heard what Biden said yesterday, 2 days ago? Education, education. That's how, because they see now even in the US, he realizes that the United States is falling behind. China, South Korea, Japan, they're going to go ahead because they're out educating, they're out researching, they're spending more money for R&D than the United States. So those are the factors that are more important to consider. But at the same time, I would also like to point out that R&D, since I mentioned R&D, yes, developed countries, US used to spend about 2% of the GDP for R&D, now it's 1%. But China, South Korea spends 5% of the money of GDP for R&D. And South Korea wants to be the world's R&D hub. But you must understand, spending money in R&D has to be considered from the point of view of, this is for Wati and some of you who work at LIPI and all those institutions. You do a lot of research. But this government-funded research institutions do not really give good results. Why? Private sector does not spend $1 unless it gets $1.20 back. In the public sector, you keep on spending money every year a little bit more than last year. So you can increase your investment in R&D in the government R&D institutions, but they're not likely to give results. So this is another thing that we must remember. Because in the developed world where they are making difference, 75% of the R&D money is spent in the private sector, not in the public sector. But public sector is also needed for long range science development, science, technology, then development. For science, public sector, because private sector is not going to spend money for science. And until private sector spends money for R&D, you do not get the results that you are looking for. These are some of the things we have to remember.
Thank you, Professor Sharif. I think we have time now only for 2 more questions. I'm going to read the first question to you. This is from Wati Harma.
Yes.
I do apologize if I'm not pronouncing your names correctly.
Okay, I know her. She's there. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Sharif, for sharing this presentation. There are always something new when I listen to you. Nowadays, in the COVID era, innovation technology is really needed, but not only for business or industry, but also for the government. How would you ensure policymakers at government level understand the importance of technology management?
Okay. Now today, deliberately, because we had shortage of time, I did not talk about service organizations. So government is a service organization. I only focused on the goods producing because I had limited time. If you give me one full day, I can talk about some of these. And what he has said in many of the seminars that I've conducted in Jakarta and Bandung over the last 4 or 5 years. So she knows everything. But thank you for bringing it up because that's an important issue. Both the government as well as the private sector have to be efficient, effective. And so both of them need technology management. Without technology management, even government sector is going to fall behind.
Thank you, Professor Sharif. The last question, I do apologize. I'm seeing more questions here. Personally, I feel maybe this could have been 2 hours. A lot of questions here. But let me go ahead and read the final question for today. This is from Rizal. So what Rizal is saying is that Professor Sharif has given good examples of selecting components in the software industry. But we are discussing at a national scale. So he would like to know how to select the dominant industry instead of a component.
I'm sorry, I think I may have not clarified it well enough. We select the dominant component for manufacturing a product. So software, I said the dominant component is humanware for that industry, not technoware. For the semiconductor industry is the technoware, which is the dominant. But for industry, it's not the dominant. For industry, we look at leveraging. We leverage for 2 reasons, to catch up or to leapfrog. In existing industries, we try to catch up by running while everybody else is walking. Because the technology change process is gradual. So if somebody is walking and if you run, you can catch up. The Japanese automobile industry, they not only caught up with Europe and US, but they go beyond that. And South Korea is now doing exactly the same thing. Their model is how to beat Japan in the automobile industry. You find that in the US, Hyundai is becoming very aggressive. Their cars are going to compete very soon with Toyota. So there's a subtle difference. You target industries for leapfrogging or for catching up, but you look at the dominant factor for within an industry to select the product. Did I make it clear? I'm not sure.
Thank you, Dr. Sharif. I think it's clear. So we have a different kind of scale, right? When
Yes.
we want to see the
One is product, industry.
industry, we have to see the dominant component. But when we are going up to the
Industrial
nation
level.
scale, so we have to see the leapfrogs and catch up capability of the
Right.
nations.
Right.
Thank
And
you.
also at that time, we have to remember the technological change process. If it is a gradual change, then catching up is possible. If it is disruptive change, many changes happening, the best strategy is skip some of the intermediate one, jump to the next S-curve.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Professor Sharif. There are a few other questions. What we could do here, and if Dr. Sharifuddin permits us, what we'll do here is that officially we will have to close this event now. But some of us, if you still want to hang around, if Professor Sharif is willing, we can still have a dialogue on some of the questions that you
Yeah,
have.
I can stay.
Okay.
I can stay
Yeah.
on.
So right now it is 10:04 p.m. in the East Coast in the evening. Okay. I'd like to thank you, Professor Sharif, for this enlightening presentation on a topic of immense interest. To the attendees,
Thank you very much. As I said in the beginning, I thank you for honoring me by your presence today. Thanks.
To the attendees, hope you have thoroughly enjoyed this talk as I have. And please join us in future AIT-AA USA technical webinars. Thank you. So with this officially, I'd like to close our set time for this program, but we can keep the Zoom session going on. If you want to ask a few questions, please go ahead.
I will be on for some time because I know in Indonesia, what is the time there now? 9 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, it is 9 o'clock in the morning.
9:05.
That's very convenient. No problem. I'll stay on a little while if you have any questions. Yes.
So with this, I, as the moderator, will now sign off. I have to have dinner. Okay, I really enjoyed all this presentation. Thank you again.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Susan.
Okay, Sharifuddin, you can take over. Gajendra, you want to say something, please?
Yes. I want to just share the experience. I enjoyed the webinar very much. We went through a big struggle in field of mechanization, means introducing machinery in agriculture sector. And everybody in US and Europe as the leaders in the donor agencies, World Bank, including ADB and all that, they told us don't mechanize because it will create unemployment.
Employment, yes.
Okay. They were always hiding the aspect you emphasize, the human wear.
Yes.
Because they didn't want us to develop our own technology.
Yep.
And they were always emphasizing the technology transfer. That whatever you need, we already have it, okay?
Right.
So why do you have to spend money or anything, okay? All this. And this took us long time to realize. And once we took over now, like India is the #1 producer of tractors in the world, and we are exporting back to them. They don't like it, but it has been only when you take up a challenge and then move ahead. Thank you very much.
Yes, Gajendra, I think nowadays I remind everybody what Lee Kuan Yew just said. If you follow your footsteps, you will be always behind.
Yeah, I agree with both Muhammad Yunus also as well as Singapore Prime Minister. Yeah.
Making sort of changes to tightening restrictions or even calling another lockdown.
Sorry, who is?
I think that's a background noise.
Northern suburb of as you can see the
Salman Siddiqui. Okay, muted.
Salman Siddiqui. I don't see your picture.
Well, his picture not turned on, and person muted also, so we're okay.
Hey, In Minh Tien, you're from Vietnam, isn't it? I see a picture still.
I think she is from Myanmar and she is one of the
From Myanmar,
for the
not from Vietnam. Okay, In Minh Tien, okay.
I think she works for the AIT Alumni Center in AIT. So she is representing from AIT.
I see. And who is Dia?
Waiting to see the drastic changes or even if there's a lockdown. So we'll just have
Can you mute Salman Siddiqui again?
for their input. Of course, we are also standing by for that update from the WFP of Mark Miguel. That's expected in possibly 20 minutes or so. As soon as they get taken.
I think you can mute.
Sharif, you can mute everybody and then let people unmute themselves.
I have a problem because I have made my pointer so large. You see, my pointer is very large.
No, I think Sharifuddin can mute everybody so we don't get the background noise.
Or you can just make me co-host. I can control this. Sorry, hey.
Maybe.
So sorry. Yeah, I muted everyone. So if you want to talk, then just unmute yourself and then talk.
Professor Sharif is also muted, by the way.
Now,
Prof. Sharif, Dia is the colleague of Ibu Wati. I think Ibu Wati could also introduce Dia here.
I changed mine.
Okay. So, well, for me, it has been refreshing seeing everybody again and many that we don't see. We left AIT a long time back. This has been great and a great presentation. Thank you. We have been out of this area, didn't follow up on this, so we have been in other in the technology field, but this has been very refreshing. Thank you.
Professor Sharif.
No.
Thank you very much for sharing this technology management to all of us. I would like to ask your permission to, because now I'm heading the technology management research group at our center, our research center. So there are about 20 researchers in our group who really deal and interest with technology management. So I would like to ask your permission to share with them all your materials that I got from you to all of them.
Yes, certainly you can. Yeah. No problem. Yes.
Thank you.
Sir, can I? Sir, I'm good, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So basically, I'm very happy to see you after a long time, sir. Actually, these materials are very refreshing for me, actually. Especially, you have added one more component here today. I saw previously, I used to know that THIO. Now you have added one more component in the TI, in the technology itself, to define technology itself. So C, which is very interesting for me, actually. So I'd like to ask you, sir, actually, since I'm in Trinidad and Tobago, and I've been working with data analytics a lot. And I have seen many articles, and I have joined in many webinars. People are saying these days that data analytics is the most important. They're using extensively actually these days. I have seen in different industries to attain organizational competitiveness. So, which, in my opinion, if I'm not wrong, that according to the components, it must fall in the category of InfoWare. If I'm not wrong, please correct me. Or I mean, like basically, or in other words, what my question is, how only the data analytics instead of the technoware and orgaware and other things are not important. They are not talking much on that. You are talking more. They're emphasizing very much on the data analytics itself. So would you please throw a little light on that so that I'm clear about it, that how it is differentiated from technology itself. Yeah.
Okay, my first observation is, what is when I say which is the most dominant one, that doesn't mean the others are not important. In my case, whenever I talk about THIOC, all of them are important and necessary. But there may be one or two which are most dominant, and we should pay attention to those in order to save or in order to get a maximum return on investment. This is one. The other point, when you say data analytics and all this, which is related with what you started with. I did not have sysnetware before, because these components of technoware, humanware, infoware, orgoware, I developed in 1986, 85, 86. At that time, internet and this artificial intelligence, these were not prominent. But as they became prominent in the year 2000, 2002, so I added this one. So I added this one.
I have one question, Professor Sharif. This is Rafi. So in the software product sector, the humanware is the most important one, a dominant factor.
Most dominant, yes.
So I am actually in a practical dilemma here, looking at, I have invested in a company in Sri Lanka, looking at Myanmar, where I grew up, looking at Bangladesh and other places in Southeast Asia and that area, right? But what I'm realizing is that the humanware for software product is not as good as in India and China and things like that. Do you know if there are government programs that only the government can educate these people, right? In those countries?
No. In India, they got four IITs, right?
Yes.
And what they say, that in India, if you cannot get admitted in the IITs, then you go to MIT.
That's right.
Do you understand that?
Yes, yes. No, we know that because when we recruit,
the IITs in India, the IITs are in India at the world level and even higher. They brag that they're better than MITs.
Yeah.
And the people who graduate from those IITs in India, they're brilliant. This is one. The other thing you also have to remember, this is something that Dr. Che told me once. When P.T. Usha from India won one of those Olympic prize, right? Right, and what Dr. Che told me, that Indians do not understand that the law of large number. When you have, now India has got 1.4 billion people. Out of 1.4 billion people, there must be 1 million genius.
Yes.
It's only for you to find them out and use them. You see? So this is one of the things that India is now, I think, able to develop. And you see, India is having a setback now because of this, what happened with this pandemic. But India has got the largest vaccine producer in the world.
Yeah.
And give them another 3 months, 6 months. They're going to overcome this. And then they're going to supply vaccine to the rest of the world. Not US, not German.
Now, to some extent, China also, because of the large population, the probability of
yes, because their population is so large, and
but
same thing is happening in China also. China
if I follow that logic, then I should be investing in a country with large population like Indonesia and other places rather than
compared to Sri Lanka, your probability of getting good quality humanware in Indonesia is better because of the vast number. Yes. For quite some time, even South Korea's population is now what, about 60 million? This is good enough. But Singapore, if you compare Singapore and Sri Lanka, how much? 20 million. You know, India grows every year by more than 20 million.
Yeah. But those two countries are counterexample of this population, right? Like Korea and Singapore, a very small population, but very well educated people.
Very well educated, and they have to focus on what Singapore is now doing to become the financial hub of the world.
Yeah.
That's what Singapore is doing. So Sri Lanka has to do something like that, which is global, but does not require too many people.
Thank you.
So, Professor Sharif, I'm Rashid Chaudhary. I'm calling from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It was nice to see you after 31 years. I was your student, and I'm working in Suncor Energy, one of the Canada's leading oil and gas. And I'm leading the digital transformation, focusing on maintenance, reliability, working on the asset management, data analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. But even I'm doing this, you are still my inspiration. What I learned in MOT in 1993, 1994, that's still inspired me. Even I'm leading this, I still remember what you taught me 31 years ago. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I'm glad that you find it useful.
And excuse me, sir, I need to leave for the iftar because it's a time for iftar in Calgary.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I need to leave. It is the iftar time in Calgary, so to break my fasting.
Oh, okay. Fasting time. Yes. Okay. Sure. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
So I may add something, Professor Sharif. My name is Mazhar. I was not directly your student, but when we started AIT in 1995, Professor Ramanathan was our teacher for management of technology. So we learned TechnoWare, InfoWare, OrgaWare at that time. And as you mentioned about KAIST, I know about KAIST a bit. So I ended up doing a PhD in strategic management. My research is in the area of startups, innovation area. So I teach innovation, I do research on innovation. And of course, your student Ramanathan, one of the inspired person. But at that time, when we were in AIT, we also had a professor came from KAIST talking about R&D. So we took a course on R&D management. And that was first time I was exposed to South Korean R&D research and investment in R&D. So the question I asked, that moderator asked you about South Korea, I was teaching a class in China among a group of senior executives, and I was praising about South Korea's success. So one student, he stopped me and then he asked me that question. Okay, professor, if you take away the United States aid from South, because he did not like the fact that I was comparing North Korea and South Korea, especially from the, Jeffrey Sachs book on forgot the name of the book that he talks about. No, I think this was a book Why Nation Fails. This MIT professor, Darren Acemoglu's idea of Darren Acemoglu, this guy is like a Turkish professor, a Turkish American. So his idea was looking at North Korea and South Korea and contrasting. So I was giving that view. Then this Chinese executive stood up and he said that, can you explain, professor, without US aid, how would South Korea, would South Korea be in this situation now? That's why I asked that question, because the amount of assistance South Korea received from United States post-Korean War seems to have a impact, but the money directed to a lot in human development. In fact, South Korea has one of the largest percentage of engineers and scientists anywhere else in the world. Yes. So that was my point. I think countries like Bangladesh or Sri Lanka or India, we do not invest amount of money we should invest in developing next generation of scientists and engineers. We are far behind.
Yes, STEM program, science, technology, engineering, math. These are very important program. Yes, yes.
And India to some extent, because I was lucky to go to IIT, one of the ISDs, and I saw how much India invested early on, right post-independence, on these 4 IITs that made a difference in India to some extent compared to, say, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh, or even Nepal.
Yes, big difference.
Yes. Professor Sharif, we're going to log out, but this is my wife, Francis, and myself. We were the first batch of
computer applications.
And you were the department chair at that time.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
About the development of Korea without the help of US, here linking US help and Korean development, if we look from the other point of view, because these questions when I teach, students also ask me, but I have a different type of answer to this. The answer is, yes, the US help was there, but US do not help and did not help only South Korea. US also helped other countries. Whether the other countries could take advantage of that help in a program and methodical way or not, that is the credit to South Korea.
Yes, Nazrul, I would like to add one more thing here, what Nazrul just said, and which is also my philosophy. And I found that was the philosophy of Dr. Che. See, I consider Dr. Che as my mentor, and also Taro Nakayama from Japan as my mentor. These are the two people from whom I have learned a lot, right? And one thing I learned from them was what people say, that you can take a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. You can create so that the learner will learn. So teaching how to learn. Learning to learn is more important than just teaching. Many of us think that teaching means we give everything. Even you see today, I gave these view graphs, but then at the end I said, this is not what I'm teaching you to follow. I'm giving you what I know. To that you add something of your own, make it your own, and then use it. Then people become creative. Because everybody likes what they do themselves, isn't it? That's human nature, right? And South Korea, this is another thing. You know, many people asked me that question. I said that South Korea had a very simple strategy for development. When we talk about development strategy, you find in all of our countries, we got documents, pages and pages written. And this is our strategy for industrial development. This is our strategy for whatever we want to do. South Korea had only two-word strategy: beat Japan. Do anything so that you can beat Japan. So Japan, automobile industry, they went so far, we're going to beat Japan. That's what Hyundai is doing. Very selective. And another thing is be very selective. Don't try everything. India, for quite some time, was trying to do too many things. See, there's a big difference between self-sufficiency and self-reliance. It took a long time for India to realize that you do not have to be self-sufficient in everything. You can be self-reliant in few areas, and then in the world, sell whatever you are good at and buy what is you can buy from other people. So it took India and China quite some time. China has learned now, but Russia did not. I think, I'm not sure.
In fact, India is behind China about 12 years because 1979 Deng Xiaoping reform started in China, and it was Manmohan Singh which started it maybe 91, right? So it's like 12 years gap, which gap seems to have still a big difference in terms of development path in China.
But always remember an S-curve.
Right.
Slow to start, after inflection, rapid growth. So give a little time to India, it's going to go. Generally S-shaped curve. In the beginning, it's a little bit slow, right? But then, and once they realize.
May I ask a question? I know people have waited for a question. I will just ask. Do you think India's this policy they are moving into talking about made in India or make in India? So India is trying to, like under BJP government, they're trying to bring manufacturing in India.
Okay.
I think India is a country that this kind of policy of bringing manufacturing or trying to bring manufacturing, because manufacturing is leaving China now, right? In a big time, they're moving to Vietnam, Cambodia, some of it's coming to Bangladesh.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
My general comment is we have to understand some industries which are known as footloose industry. You understand the meaning of footloose. These industries are here in one country now, but they're going to go to some other country. The garment industry is a very good example. When I came first to United States in 1965, 66, every garment piece that I bought was made in Korea. But Korea cannot afford to make garment nowadays because labor is so expensive. This is one. So as quality of life goes up, labor price goes up, certain labor intensive industries have to move from that country to another country. One reason. The second reason is that the developed countries also would like to get some credit that they are shifting now, because now it's Bangladesh in the United States, any garment that you want to buy made in Bangladesh. But they're telling Bangladesh, and this is what I try to tell my friends in Bangladesh also, remember how many more years you're going to sell your garment to US? Maybe 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You're going to lose. So be prepared. Move into something else before it's too late. Now, two things happens. Developed countries, Europe and US will tell the developing countries that they have helped you, like Bangladesh, we have helped you so long, you have developed, now I want to help Nepal, or I want to help Papua New Guinea, because they're poorer, they're behind. Noble cause, okay? But that's not the real fact. We've got 5,000 in Bangladesh. I know there are 5,000 garment industries. And all these industries have got 5 million equipment, none made by Bangladesh. Who makes the garment industry equipment? 3 big companies in the world. Singer, Puff, and Brother. One German company, Puff, Singer, Anglo-American, and Brother, the Japanese company. And now, of course, Korea is making some of these. So every time you have this new industries, you buy all this equipment where they make a lot of money. And once your industry is gone, they don't buy it back. It becomes junk. So you see, that's where they're making more profit. So this is my, you can say it's maybe wild thinking. I taught here in Johns Hopkins University, I taught this technology innovation management, and I did get this question most of the time from my student, that China, because you go to the market, you find all these Chinese products. So China is taking over. My answer is twofold. I asked them, okay, your shoes are made in China. Yes, I know that. My shoes also made in China. How many billion shoes you have to buy so that they will have enough money to buy a Boeing 747 aircraft? You sell one Boeing 747, that brings all the money that you have paid to them. High technology products they're selling. Take this iPhone. We all have iPhone. $500 at least, $600, $1,000. How much all manufactured in China? How much profit China makes? 2.5% of that value. Major share goes to the designers at Apple. That's why their value in the market is $600 billion. So the manufacturing, now I'm coming back to your question of manufacturing. Because nowadays you got these 3D printers. Even I'm a mechanical engineer. I have to forget about the way we used to make products. Because with 3D printing, you do not have to cut, form, shape, drill, all of those completely gone. You need a very good machine, and that machine can produce exactly the part you want, and also without any stress. Indonesia has got this aircraft industry. IPTN in Bandung, I visited many times. Do you know they produce the Boeing 737, the entire body is made in Bandung. But who makes the profit? Boeing company. Why? You take the aircraft. The major cost, you know this. You take an aircraft. 30% of the cost of the aircraft is the engine. Who makes the engine? Rolls-Royce, Pratt & Whitney, or the third one?
GE.
GE. These are the 3 companies who make this aircraft engine. So that's what they make money. More important that who produces the avionics? That's what Boeing controls, the avionics, which costs 45%. So 25% of the cost is the body. But that body is made through very labor-intensive technology because you want less stress. So big aluminum ingots are bought, and then I saw what they do. Cut, slowly cut, make the hollow, and make the body. The technology content is very little. The material content is very high. The profit, what they get is also low. So we have to consider this very critically. We have to move into products where the technology content is high. And then if we have people who can give that technology content, that's a winner. Because you can buy. And again, if you ask me, I asked this silly question once. I went to Samsung. I visited Samsung many times. And they were showing me so many things. And one of my friends in Samsung, he told me, you know, we're going to manufacture cars in the future. I said, what? You're going to make cars? Yes. He looked at me. He laughed. You don't follow why? I said, no. Very simple. Look at the car that you have now compared to the cars that we used to have 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Electronics nowadays is a major component in the car. Anytime the car's major component, more than 50% will be electronics, we are the leader and we'll produce cars. That's what Tesla is doing now here in US. You see, so you have to be strategic in terms of where you want to compete. Earlier, and this is where India, I think, has learned now, India and China earlier was trying to compete in everything, to be self-sufficient. But South Korea, because they're a small country, they knew from the very beginning, they cannot be self-sufficient. They have to be very careful, very selective. Even R&D that KISS started. Now this is what for you. The research institutions in our countries, they want to do research in every area. Come on, you cannot do that with so little money, with so little resources, equipment. So you have to be very careful in selecting only few areas. South Korea started only 7 areas. They have a formula called 777. 7 areas spend 7% of GDP for R&D and compete within that in 7 areas. So what I'm trying to say very quickly is we cannot take any country's model without understanding the concept behind that model. That's why I emphasize all the time. Think of a concept. You want to make a decision, you must have a concept that if I do this, this is what is going to happen. The creation of the concept is very important. And this is what I learned from Dr. Che. He told me they want to follow. I took Dr. Che to Bangladesh, to Sri Lanka, to Malaysia, to Indonesia, to all these countries, because they all want to have something like KIST. But Dr. Che told me that yes, they're going to take the mechanics of KIST, but they don't understand the concept. And when I asked Dr. Che, what is the concept? Very simple, few things. Research funded by private sector, not by the government. Number one, people are not promoted on the basis of papers they publish. They're promoted on the basis of money they bring in from the private sector. You see the concept, which made the big difference. And third one is that research, if you want money from the private sector, then it should not be an academic institution, because in an academic institution, everything is open. You have to keep secret. Private sector is not going to give you money to do research when you tell everybody, this is what I'm doing for them. Do you follow? So this is a very important point for us to remember, that whenever we try to emulate somebody's model, successful model, we should try to learn the concept which made that model a success, not the mechanics. And I have, Nazrul knows, I wrote a paper which will be published next month, where I have given 10 reasons why we could not emulate South Korean model. And any one of you who want that, you have my email address and you can send me an email and I will send that paper to you also. Anybody. And also this document that I gave you, I wrote a paper in 2012, which has got some of the background for this. That one I can also send you. 2 papers where you will get more content. Nazrul, is that all right?
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I think. What's the time? It's 10:40 almost. We're here. I'm telling my Eastern
Yeah,
time.
it's 10:40. Yes, 10:40.
Yeah,
It's a Ramadan time. I know some of you have to.
Yeah, 10:40.
So you have to go. So hi. I think you have to go.
Yeah,
And
probably we
Nazrul,
have to go, and many of us we have to go.
For my people in Asia, it's the morning, so I can stay a few more minutes. I can stay a little bit longer.
Yeah, and so those who are in the US, probably many of us, we need to go.
Right.
And then in that way, thank you very much for very illustrative presentation. It's always a pleasure to me because I work with you very closely. And so that's all. Thank you.
Some of you mentioned about that you have learned about MOT from me and Ramanathan, and the third one is Nazrul.
In fact, Ramanathan and myself, we did our masters and PhD together under Professor Sharif.
I see. But you know, I feel very happy about one thing. Teachers feel very happy when their students become better than them. So Ramanathan, a lot of them have gone much beyond what I did. I'm very happy about it. Okay, hi, you have to leave. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sir.
Thank you.
We'll connect.
You have to leave. Go ahead.
Thank you, Professor Sharif.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Professor Sharif,
Yeah.
may I inform you the situation in Indonesia that the Ministry of Research and Technology was eliminated. It's mixed to the Ministry of Education and Culture. Then our institution bring up above under president called Bureau of Research and Innovation at the national scales. And then the last speech that you told us, the 3 things Korea did to make more independent in research and technology. And now it's being applied in this new body that our the researchers, researcher performance at this new institution was valued based on how much money you bring to this institution. And then the second one is that how much how much cooperation that you can make with the private sectors. So the government now gives allocation for funding, not for research, but for infrastructure only. So the research, we have to look for some cooperation or some donors and then bring in to our institution. So this is really, this is the 2nd years already. And many of those who remain thinking in the old system, they will, they cannot catch up with this new system. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad there's something good happening now. And I'm going to send I'm going to send you my other paper, which you may send to Pa Habibi, because I was a little bit critical about Pa Habibi. He was I learned so many things from Pa Habibi. Habibi was the Minister for Science and Technology in Indonesia for 25, 30 years. And then he was also president for a short period. And he was very helpful. I learned a lot from Habibi and his IPT and other strategic industries. But one of the things I found was in Indonesia, they depended too much on only one person. And so when Habibie was not in control, things did not advance.
Yeah.
There are a lot of difficulties. So if you ever get, how is Pa Habibie? Is he all right? Is he still...
No, she's passed away.
Oh, he passed
already.
away. When?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Oh, I did not know that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so his son is with, I think one of his son is with BPPT now, the agency of technology.
Yes, I know
and with this new scheme, actually BPPT, LIPI, and then the atomic agency and also the aerospace agency will mix together in one, this new, what we call new body.
So who is heading LIPI now? Who is the head of LIPI?
Dr. Laksmana Trihandoko.
It's a new person.
Yes, he's a new, I mean, much younger than me, of course.
I know the first person, Pa Samaun Samadikun. When I came to Indonesia, he was the head of LIPI.
You almost you come almost every what you call almost every of the head of LIPI.
Yes, I know, because
you know almost all the head of LIPI.
So many times, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I've been to Pakistan also so many times. Sri Lanka, many times. But India, I lived 6 years.
Yeah.
Professor
Yes, thank you,
Sharif.
Professor Sharif. I will not hold you too long. It's already night at US. Thank you very much.
Give my regards to Pa Choco.
I will.
Okay.
See, he asked your cell phone number, your WhatsApp number. I said I met you at Zoom this morning.
I'll give you my cell phone number.
Okay, all right. Through email or
yes.
Yes. Thank you, Professor Sharif, Professor Islam, Professor Mazhar, Professor Amin, and everybody here, and also Professor Sharif.
Another Nazrul has joined.
I see another Nazrul Islam.
Another Nazrul has joined. Just now it seems.
Yeah, things are fine here in Bangladesh, sir.
Thank you.
Professor
Good morning, sir. I just missed a lot of things.
Good.
Professor Nazrul Islam, you are in Dhaka.
Yeah, sir. This is Nazrul Islam, your student.
This is another Nazrul Islam. He's now Vice Chancellor of Northern University.
Yes, sir. Northern University.
Northern University of Bangladesh. He is the Vice Chancellor.
I see.
Sir, I studied with you management of technology course, technology strategy course. 2 courses I studied with you, sir, and I did very well.
Okay, good.
Thank you, sir.
Most
I'm seeing you
welcome.
after a long time.
I have been to Dhaka, but after I did not go after my dear friend Jamil Raja Chaudhry died a year ago. Before that, I went a couple of times to University Asia Pacific, where he was the Vice Chancellor.
Okay, sir.
Also to management, Bangladesh Institute of Management, BIM. I have been to a few other private sector universities there. Yes. Almost every year. 2017 was the last.
Sir, nice to see you, Professor Mazhar.
19 years, 2019. Okay.
And also, I saw Dr. Gaur Shaha.
Yes.
Gaur Shah just left. Yeah.
Yes.
Sir. Yes, sir. Just I wanted to just say hello. Hello, sir. Rabiul Amin.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I ask your permission to leave this Zoom.
Yes. Wati, you can leave.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor Sharif. I ask you permission also to leave.
Yes, please do. And I think we can say It's over now. Close it down for tonight.
Yeah, I think that is okay.
Professor Sharif, just one thing I want to I sent a question. I am Rabiul Amin. I am your student, direct student in 94 to 96 batch. You are my supervisor. So as from your observation or your experience, long experience, do you think for develop humanoid, is there any connection or how much connection for the affordability?
Affordability.
Yes.
What do you mean by? Can you explain a little bit? What do you mean by?
Affordability means just like I can explain my situation. I am the son of a very remote village from Bangladesh. My both parents were working for, my father was working farm, and my mother was working in the village middle class house. We are 9 siblings. I am the second one. So they did not have any land. On that basis, there is a opportunity, but if I cannot afford it, means financially, mainly financially or economically or socially even, all those stuffs are very complex stuff in my understanding. Affordability, when I say affordability means everything, your surroundings, including finance. So do you think it is what I am saying that, do you think it has a very big concern about country like Bangladesh, India, when you are saying like India has 1.4 billion people, but how many are coming up? Same thing is happening in Bangladesh as well.
No, the situation has improved a little bit in Bangladesh.
Right.
But as you said that Professor Nazrul Islam and other private universities, there are, in Dhaka itself, there are how many? 64 universities?
Yeah, it's more than that. 100 university most probably.
It's more than 100, sir. More than 100.
Dhaka city. Now, it's good, but it is so very bad. It's good in terms of number. Yes, we need more. But the bad thing is, just put a label. This is a university, and there's no teacher. University is known by the teachers you have. So if you do not have good quality teachers, then that's not really very useful, number one. India has improved a lot in that respect. And there again, I would like to point out that you have to pick few. You cannot do in too many areas again. In Dhaka, there's 100 universities, each one of them have a business program. Why? To make money. BBA program, an MBA program, because you get students, and the students know that after they get a BBA degree, MBA degree, they can get a job. So that's the program. There's a university called International.
IIT.
No, not IIT. I'm talking about Dhaka, International University.
Women's University?
No, International.
I think IUBAT. Is that the one?
No, that is the oldest one, IUBAT, that I know. But there's a new one in near Badda.
Oh, Badda. University of Scholars. Scholars.
Yes.
Yes.
The name is International University of Scholars. I know the owner. One of them live here, very close to where I live. But this is just making money. The whole objective is to make money. It's a business school. And you call it a University of Scholars. Who are teaching there? I went there once to meet with some of the people. Now, you all know this very well. The best universities of the world have got good quality faculty members. That's one of the requirements. Number of universities is not going to help. So to answer your question, Rabiul Amin, yes, we are having now some improvement. There are universities, I understand there are universities, medical universities in every state or every region now. So we are getting these, but they're not of good quality. And financially, government, see, when I studied, at the Engineering University Dhaka. That's why I say that I go back to Bangladesh to pay back some of the things that I got from my country. I offer everything free. Why? Because I studied at the Engineering University when I did not pay any fee. Rather, I got 30 rupees in those days per month scholarship. So free education. And my daughter here, when I brought here to US to study, we had to pay $30,000 per year tuition fee. And you compare that.
Yeah, it's like that's the thing. Like if there was no scholarship program, like I got the scholarship in class 8, I got scholarship in after SSC, I got scholarship in HSC. That's why I am here. Otherwise, I would not be here.
Yes, yes.
That's
So,
very clear.
No, that part should continue. But what is happening now again in there also, Dhaka University, I know, I'm not sure about the engineering university. Most of the people now go out of the university and teach in the private sector.
It's for long back from mid-90s they started.
Because the money they pay.
Yeah.
Now these private universities pay a professor in lakhs of taka per month. On the other hand, if you're with the BUET, the only respectable one, the remuneration is not that high.
If I inject a little bit from my side, our experience at BUET, I'm telling you, at one point of time, BUET proposed to the government when I was there that, okay, we have all the facilities are there, laboratories, faculties are here. We would like to start the evening programs so that we can have more students here. The same faculty will teach, the quality will remain same, but here we will charge a little bit higher for them, for the evening, those who, it should be much lower than the private universities, but it's higher than the existing one that we are talking about, so that we can reinvest that money to develop the infrastructure of BUET. The answer was no, you cannot.
Yes.
And we were not allowed to do that.
Yes.
Now you think, but these same faculty members used to go to teach the private universities.
Yes.
So they are earning much more than that. But if the government policy was allowed that you go for it, probably there would have been much more quality graduates.
Yes.
And plus the infrastructure, the laboratory and other infrastructure of BUET would have been much better than what it is now.
Yes.
Same thing, I'm just giving the parallel things that in Thailand, Bangkok, I have seen these public hospitals nowadays, they all have started the evening session. So if you would like to get a service at a reasonable cost, you don't want to go in a queue and all those things, you go in the evening, you pay a little bit higher, but that money is again coming to the university. The doctors are getting some extra income, and the physical facilities and other things are being improved. The service is much better. So we cannot do that thing. So this is one thing that I find. Second point that Rabil was telling that yes, the affordability, I remember, because many of us, the parents are not that rich to pay the tuition fees and other things. I think this is where the government has to play the role.
Yes.
The tuition fees and other things that we are talking about. I was just listening to even in US, this Biden's speech. He was telling that, yeah, we were talking about the 12th grade. No, not the 12th grade. Now we have to think about the education after that even. That means that has to be made available to everybody who can do.
Yes.
The government has to go play that role, because the individual probably cannot pay.
Yes. But the problem in Bangladesh, the policymakers, they're so much afraid of these educated people that they will not. And you take AIT. AIT could have been established in Bangladesh, but our government did not agree, right? Why? That's a CIA agent. Thai government through royal decree established AIT, where they gave the Thai faculty members the same privileges what was given to the foreigners who were working there. Now I mentioned this to Mohit, who was the finance minister. long time ago when I was at AIT, he came to Bangkok and he met me. He came to my house at AIT to discuss about the charter because Bangladesh was setting up this Islamic center, right? So he wanted to know the AIT charter to have something in the same format.
IIT, later on IUT, yeah.
Right, but I explained to Mohit, he was my father's student. I said, Mohit Bhai, I have something to tell you, very frankly, that you take all this charter and everything from here, but remember, do not mistreat Bangladeshis. You cannot have an institute there where foreigners will get a salary of, say, $5,000 per month, $5,000 per month, and the Bangladeshis with same qualification will get only $1,000 per month. Meanness.
Rabiul Amin bhai, you are muted.
Yeah, so it is still like same, like similar when
Yes,
you
I
are doing
agree.
the consultancy.
That's why our country is still not developing.
As I was in the government of Bangladesh for a long time, 20 years, so I know that all those
yes. This is the sad part.
That's right.
Yeah, so I'll tell what Professor Nazrul Islam was saying, right? Bangladesh. So I teach in China for last about 8-9 years. A university called Sun Yat-sen, which is in Guangzhou. They are so flexible. Like when I talk to in Bangladesh, they say if you want to teach a course, according to UGC, again, I do not know, North South University told me that you have to spend the entire semester in Bangladesh. Even in summer, I have to spend the entire summer to teach one class like a regular. In China, I teach courses in 4 days. 4 days, I teach 36 hours. So I teach 9 hours a day, 4 days in a row to finish a course.
Yes.
I mean, of course, that's not ideal, but they would do that because they know that unless they do that, people like me, I mean, I'm not saying I'm special, but they need to have ASCSB accreditation. Yes. They need to have people like me to teach. They will allow me to teach 9 hours in 4 days in a row, and people will sit down 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the evening with a 1 hour lunch break. They'll sit down there and study.
Yes, it's for both, to attract the good faculty and also to attract students who are working part-time.
Right.
Or maybe working full-time and taking a part-time course.
Right, exactly.
To improve their level.
But I think Bangladesh, I mean, so far my experience at Nazrul Bhai, Professor Nazrul Bhai, like Junior Nazrul Bhai, can say this is difficult for us to still remain, be flexible.
Yes.
Mazhar, I also have this similar experience in Beijing University. When I was visiting there, I found a professor's office, and next to him is his business office. So I asked, how is it possible? It's a government university. How can you have this business office next to you? And do you have to pay rent and all those things? He said, no, I don't have to pay rent, because they said that whatever idea I have, if I can convert it to business, I can do business and I don't have to pay anything.
Yes.
So look, they are more capitalistic than US, I would say, in that way, to promote things.
Right, sir. Flexibility.
Yes. More practical, pragmatic. What is needed?
Sir, may I ask you, sir, one question?
China changed a lot.
Sir, I would like to ask one question to you, Nawaz Sharif, sir.
Yes.
In Bangladesh, right now, there are more than 107 private universities and 46 government universities. So far, I know, in almost all universities, there are BBA and MBA programs are offering by each and every university. But problem is they are offering major in HRM, major in marketing, major in finance, major in accounting, major in MIS. Very few universities are offering major in supply chain management, and no university is offering international business and also management of technology for the engineers, what we learned from AIT. These are the areas which are not even tasked. Although there are hundreds of universities operating here and offering MBA and BBA degrees. So, sir, under these circumstances, it is a need of the day, and a lot of engineers are coming to study here, and what our Nazrul sir mentioned that he tried once in Buet, but could not. Evening program he tried, but could not implement. But how is there any or how can we, sir, introduce this kind of measure or this kind of program in this, at least in my university, private university? Can you please advise?
Okay. No, I think this is something that I tried myself, and this is something I learned from Dr. Che again. Plenty of things I'm going to tell you that I learned from Dr. Che. One thing that I learned from Dr. Che is that you need commitment at the highest level. Somebody at the highest level of the country must have some commitment for the development of the country, right? Now, knowing that, I took Dr. Che to Bangladesh many times. And I'll give you two instances. One time I organized a seminar in Dhaka where I invited two well-known people. One scientist, Professor Salam, famous scientist, and Dr. Che, technologist. And I deliberately took them to show two things to the people, that when we are poor, when we are developing, science comes later. Because you need food first, living first, technology, problem solvers, decision makers, that comes. And once you have developed, of course you need science. But now we can use the science that is developed in other countries for technology. This is one. The other thing is, I took Dr. Che, I tried many times, but once I was successful to take Dr. Che to meet with General Irshad, who is the president. And my whole objective was, I sat there in that room by the side, and Dr. Che was very kind to me. He said, I know why you are taking me there. I understand. Because he used to consider me as like his son. So we went there, and Dr. Che wanted to say what Korea did, and what Korea did under General Park, who was the president. My whole objective was, look, this is what General Park did for Korea, and you, General Irshad, can do for Bangladesh if you understand what is to be done. Sad. 45 minutes I was sitting there in that room. Irshad did not let Dr. Che talk about what Korea did. He was only talking about the problems he has. And he was even saying that the problems, nothing can be done in Bangladesh. I was saying, why are you sitting in that chair? In my heart, I can say that. In contrast, I took Dr. Che to Malaysia to meet Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad.
Correct, sir.
There was a 45 minutes meeting arranged, but after we went there, after Dr. Che said a few things, Mahathir called his secretary, cancel all my meetings. I want to discuss with Dr. Che for a whole day to find out what they did. Commitment.
This is the difference.
Support. You see, Malaysia is going ahead because they got the support from the top. Bangladesh also, if we could get support from the top, because the next generation people or next level people will follow what the top is saying. So until that happens,
it's very difficult.
I see it's much, much difficult that we are going to use. And I tried that, failed, miserably failed.
Thank you, sir. But sir, right now I am working in a Northern University as a Pro-Vice Chancellor.
It's a new one, right? Northern. There's a Northwestern, right?
No, sir. It was established in 2002. It's not a new university. It has got 30,000 alumni already. And right now there are 10,000 students, existing students.
Okay.
It's one of the relatively old private universities in Bangladesh.
The first one was Alibullah Mia's IUBAT.
IUBAT, correct, sir.
I remember because Alibullah Mia and I had a lot of discussion in Bangkok when he wanted to set up the private university. That was the first one, yes.
But right now, sir, at least among these 107 private universities, 10 universities already, I should say, standard on their own feet. They will survive because their background, their campus, their financial support, and some of the universities also have good faculty members, what you mentioned earlier.
Borrowed from Dhaka University and other universities, right? Dhaka University people now all teach in the private universities, particularly in the business school.
Can I interfere 1 second? I think we can stop broadcasting live on Facebook now.
Yeah, please cancel.
Yeah,
somebody stop recording and broadcasting on.
I can stop recording. Let me stop recording if it stops. Sorry.
It's already stopped. Facebook, I stopped almost 40 minutes back.
Okay, so. It's still showing live. Okay.
Yeah. There's no live on Facebook.
Also, I would like the recording to be stopped.
Yeah.
Recording also is stopped.
Because I don't want anybody to record what I'm saying.
That's what I was saying. Like we might be.
So there should not be any recording. There is no Facebook Live. Yeah. So.
Okay, good. Thank you. That's also, this is 10 minutes past 11.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sir, then better leave, sir.
Yeah.
I joined late, so.
Sir, Nazrul, sir, you are in DC area, right?
Just outside DC. It's Maryland, but adjacent to DC.
Okay, Maryland. Which town?
It's called Ashton, Silver Spring.
Silver Spring. I know Silver Spring. I'm in Philadelphia. Right now, I'm in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia is very close from here, 2 hours.
So while I drive down to New Orleans in summer, I'll stop by for a tea.
Okay.
If you have time.
If you are living in Philadelphia, then probably if you drive to that, you can also stop in my place.
Sir?
It's Baltimore. You have to go over Baltimore.
So I will stop by for coffee with you, and then
you can start with highest place in.
That is New Jersey, but that's away.
A little bit.
Philadelphia is
down.
down. Yeah.
Because for fall semester, I have to go down to New Orleans and I have to take my car. I cannot fly.
But before you come here, I just hope that let's pray that this COVID problem is over. Because for last 1.5 years, I did not go anywhere.
No, definitely. Did you get the shots?
Invite anybody to come. Even near here, I asked him not to come yet.
I mean, I understand that. But did you get the both shots, sir? Did you get the vaccines?
I did. Okay, we did, both of us. We had 2 of us, my wife and myself. Both of us, we had vaccine, but we stay home. Only go out for buy medicine or buy groceries.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. It's always better to be careful and stay at home. So.
Okay, so let's call it a day.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate your time and also that, I think valuable talk.
Okay, thank you.
And then I'd like to also thank you, Professor Nazrul Islam, sir.
Both. Dr. Nazrul Islam and the senior Nazrul Islam, yes.
Yeah. I talked to him a few days back. Yeah. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Waalaikumsalam. Assalamualaikum.
রবিউল আলম ভাই কেমন আছেন?